Yeah, I want to talk about the elephant in the room, which is um, when we will start using this to change the world for better. No? We have been years working on the infrastructure and in the core DeFi primitives, etc. But at the end, this is mainly being used for investors to take more leverage or speculate on growing or decreasing value of other cryptocurrencies, etc. But very little have been done to make some contribution to solve the real world problems we are facing. And this is very important because we are facing a disruption moment because we are extracting too much from environment and we are pushing too much people under pressure because of social inequalities, etc. So that has happened in the past, no? That civilizations that grow to amazing levels, like Rome, failed to break through further, and we end up in an era of obscurancy. And for not to happen, technology is key. We need technology, a lot of technology to be able to solve the major problems we are facing with food, and in general, information is key. And blockchain, internet are key contributors to increase our capacity of communication and collaboration worldwide. But technology itself is not good or bad. It can be also being used for accelerating how fast we are taking down the Amazonas. So the important thing of technology is that we use it to solve real world problems. And which are them? Many people in crypto don't like the sustainable development goals because it's like the status quo setting the agenda. But at the end, if you read them, you fully agree with this is important things that have to be solved, and this is a common language of what is impact, what it isn't. No? So no poverty, zero hunger, reduces the inequalities, etc. I think we could all agree that this is good things and important things to happen. And thanks to this call to action from United Nations, they were aware that they took alone with only government money couldn't solve all that problems. So in 2015, when they launched the 2030 agenda, they say, okay, we have to create something that is being called impact investing, which means basically blended finance of concessional investors like government and NGOs, philanthropics, etc., to provide first losses, or, technical assistance, or whatever other way. So for-profit money can join these impact vehicles because the risk is taken down or is more secure or whatever. And this is growing very exponentially, but I think it's important to separate ESG, environmental social governance, which has been in the field for quite a long time, to impact investing, to ReFi. No? The first one is more like, okay, I can be a petrol company, but I do some social responsibility thing, or I have a good governance frameworks, etc. So I can be ESG. But you cannot be impact investing if you are a petrol company, because it's not within you that your business model that you are contributing to the SDGs. And in regeneration, we move forward from sustainability to, okay, we are too late to just think on not doing more damage. We have to start improving instead of decreasing the square meters of jungle and etc. No? So I think this table is very useful to understand the differences. It takes some time, so I will recommend you to see in my Twitter or wherever afterwards. Because I think if you read all of that, most of you will agree that we all are regents. It's just that we were not aware. And in this regent world, I mean, in sustainability, we start thinking, okay, money is not the only thing that matters as it was before. We have to take care also of environment and social stuff. And in regeneration is even more holistic approach. There is many ways of capitals. Gregory Landua from Regen Network talks about 8 forms of capital. And for example, inspiration. No, if you are here and you are listening this talk and you are, okay, I like this idea of regeneration. I just now became a regen. That's important. That's inspiration. That's the events for I think. And we are super early, but it starts to be happening a lot of projects around, and it's very important that it also starts being impact ratings. No, it's not only about how much total value locked you have, but okay, that's really worth it or not. No, so we can prevent greenwashing. And from that 17 SDGs, maybe the biggest problem we can solve within crypto in the short term is, okay, the original promise of crypto was to bank down banks, no? Because this should be a new financial system that is much better than the previous one, no? But until now, we have been focusing, as I was saying at the beginning, no, on more financial derivatives instead of how we make sure that we solve the biggest problem of the traditional financial system, that is that it left excluded a quarter of the world population. And this is the biggest opportunity of all for crypto, because for now we are targeting just this, no, crypto savvy people and mass market. I mean, yeah, there is people who is not super wealthy, but the super wealthy maybe don't use that much DeFi at all. So, but for the main mass market that is not crypto, we have to do something yet, and so on. How can we work with the unbank? The problem, who are they? Most of them are smallholder farmers in developing economies. That's why in ETH we are focusing on smallholder farmers in developing economies. And the problem is they don't have data, because normally they don't have mobile phones, and or even if they don't have internet in there today. And some of them don't even know how to read or write. So credit scoring, it doesn't work very well with them. And use assets as collateral also doesn't work very well with them, because they tend not to have, or if they have their plot of land under the name, the problem is no financial institution want that as an asset to use as collateral. So that's why in ETH we invented crowd collateral, which means you buy our crypto ethics stake on their behalf, so they have collateral, so other people lend the money, basically. So we have the low risk, low return. For now, this is retail lenders, but the idea is that this, in the long term, became super institutional. And we have the high risk, high return crypto savvies who buy the ethics and stake. And in the other side of the world, we have the cooperative of farmers and the auditors who search for that loan originators and provide the due diligence and help them on board, etc. And very important, they also buy ethics and stake on their behalf, so they are aligned. This is a system based on the circles of confidence and theory of game mainly. And the end goal of ethics is to create this virtuous incentive loop, which is that the more secure is a platform, the more lending, the more lending, the more demand for ethics, the more secure is the platform, the more lending. So it's super reflexive, which is good and bad, but I consider that to be good because at the end, the borrowers are the farmers. This is only the insurance. And we are super early yet. We can really change the world for the better if we act and use what we have already built, which is a lot. We are still in the 1980 of internet. I think this is the most important macro diagram of all. Because in 1998, there was no WhatsApp, no Wikipedia, no Facebook, no social networks at all. We didn't know how to use internet. We still don't know how to use crypto. And I liked a lot this idea of that a fellow brought to me about sacred economics and beautiful money. They say is a philosopher, Charles Einstein, who says the money, what backs the money in history, that tend to be super abundant. When cows were money, we had much more cows than needed. When salt was money, we tend to have much more salt than needed. So what about backing the money with things that we really want to be abundant? And that creates a beautiful money because it contributes with its monetary expansion to help the world make a change, to go in the direction we want to go. And Celo started with, okay, let's put in it some high quality carbon credits from the Amazonas, so you are protecting Amazonas with the monetary expansion, which is super cool. Instead of what we have in traditional stable coins, that what you are having below is basically dollars. So you are still supporting the dollar system, or in the best case, energy in the case of Bitcoin, or more Ether demand in the case of Ethereum, if that is going to be money. But imagine that someday a maker decides that each year we put 1% more or 10% more or whatever of our backing into real world assets. But not whatever real world asset, but the meaningful ReFi regenerative assets. That will be huge because already it's a lot of money that it represents. So what should be that kind of assets? You have, for example, our bonds. When you lend to the farmers, you get a bond. Why you get money? You buy bonds from the government of the states instead of smallholder farmers in developing economies, which is increasing the financial system in its general instead of keeping the same financial system. And some other regenerative debt projects for sure. High quality carbon credits, as Celo is doing. ReFi index tokens that we are working with to launch. L1 and L2 tokens with focus on ReFi, etc., etc. That will make DAI beautiful money. And it has very important side effects, especially in the regulatory side of it, because at the end, regulators tend to be always super uh, against innovation because it can disrupt what they are working on for decades. But and if you are trying to kill the banks, for sure they are not very happy. So they don't like what we are doing very much. But if what you are trying is to bank down bank and solve real world problems, regulators like what we do. We never had any issue with any regulator. I say exactly the opposite. They make intros or whatever. No. So, with this, I end, not before asking you to commit yourself to your regeneration, become a regent, and join Ethic Hub. Thank you very much.